Hello and welcome. Today we're making cranberry sauce. This is a super simple and mostly hands-off, so all it really takes is a few minutes of your time every half hour or so for about 2 hours. This is going to be more like applesauce in texture rather than the gelatin type that you would get in a can. Both of these have their own uses, but I find this one to be a bit more flavorful and a bit more versatile as it also works outside of the holiday season for serving with other poultry like chicken and duck, as well as some cuts of pork. It also stands well on its own as a side like applesauce and can be used as a topping for desserts, so it really has a large number of uses. So, for our ingredients, we will only need 3 things. 2 cups of fresh or frozen whole cranberries, 1 cup of orange juice, and between 1 and 4 tablespoons of sugar. One of the bags of cranberries you see typically in US stores this time of year will make actually 2 batches or 1 double batch. As always, a real quick thank you to everyone for watching and sharing the videos. It really helps me and the channel grow a lot. And if you haven't already and are enjoying the video, please subscribe for more like it. So, while you can just dice the heck out of your cranberries with a knife by hand and then just add them and the orange juice to the pot, I'd actually recommend doing it with a food processor or blender to save yourself quite a bit of time as I'm doing here. It's a lot better than chasing round cranberries that are always trying to roll off the cutting board. So you'll just want to blend them down to where their largest pieces are going to be about a 1/16 to an 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch is kind of on the large side. About 1.75 millimeters to 3-ish for those metric types. Make sure you leave yourself some room at the top of your food processor or blender when you do these types of things, especially with all the liquid, so that you don't accidentally overflow when the blending is happening. Generally, I try to leave 1/3 to 1/4 for liquids, especially like this, so it doesn't overflow. And even though I did that, I still actually spilled a tiny bit here. So thankfully it was on the cutting mat rather than the poorly chosen white tablecloth. Now, since it's very likely your mixer is a different size than mine, here are some close-up pictures. While your mixer may be a different size or shape, the air bubbles are going to be about the same size, so use those as a guide to get your mixture to about the same size as you see in these pictures. Once it's down to these smallest chunks, we are ready for the long, but mostly hands-off part. We'll just need to put our cranberries and orange juice mixture in a small pot to simmer away most of the liquid. This is going to be an almost hands-off, but you will have to stir it every once in a while. So there are 2 ways you can go here. Set it to medium-low, and you're only going to have to stir about every 30 minutes or so for about 2 hours. Or you set it to medium and stir it about every 20 minutes for an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. Both of these times are going to be approximate since you're really just going to be boiling it down and reducing it until it gets to the texture that you would like it to be. In this case, we want our texture to be almost exactly like applesauce while it's still on the heat. This will let the liquids thicken up a little bit when it's cooled or cold, so the liquids don't separate from the mixture. I had an extra 1/4 cup of orange juice left, so I just threw that in and let mine boil for a little bit longer here. It won't really affect the taste too much unless you get above a 1/2 cup of extra orange juice. So if you only have a little bit left of either the cranberries or the orange juice, just toss them in the pot. It'll be fine and it won't change the taste too much. Once your texture is almost where you want it, we want to add the sugar. We start with 1 tablespoon and give it a minute or 2 to mix in and then give it another taste, adding another until your desired balance of sweet and tart is achieved. So we have a few reasons why we have such a wide range of sugar amounts. Your cranberries may be more or less tart depending on the ripeness and the growing conditions and location. The orange juice can vary massively in sugar from one brand to the next if you're buying it, and even if you're going with fresh oranges from the same tree, the differences can actually be quite large. So we have to boil it down first to see what the sweetness and tartness level is after we've done the reduction of the orange juice. I've found it always takes at least 1 tablespoon of sugar. More often than not, 3 to 4 is where you're going to end up, depending on your taste and how much you like the tartness of cranberry. In my case, this was about 3 tablespoons. Once you have your sugar all mixed in, you are technically ready to serve. Some substitutions you can try are swapping the sugar for brown sugar or honey granules. Both of these go really well and add a subtle flavoring in the background, not too much, but just enough. Do not, on the other hand, use fresh honey, though, because it takes so much that you'll actually have the cranberry flavor start to get drowned out by the flavor of honey. You could probably use Splenda, but I haven't actually tested that, so that's maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. And with that, we've made some great cranberry sauce that is as tasty as it is easy to make. It takes a fair bit of time, but since you don't actually have to pay much attention to it, you can make it in the background while you're doing other stuff. You can serve this hot or cold as well. It has some interesting differences in which tastes are highlighted depending on the temperature, so I do recommend trying both hot and cold versions to see which one you like better. My favorite is to eat it with some turkey or to use it as a glaze for turkey breast or roast chicken. I find the combination of the slight sweetness in the meat and the hot-cold dynamic make it a great eating experience when using it as a condiment for meat as well. So, with that, I would like to thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day and a great meal.